Okay, and it's the next morning. I got a decent night's sleep, and it's almost noon here on the 26th. It's Tuesday? Is that right? Yeah, it's Tuesday. Uh, so, time to recap my Monday at WSBG. Started super early, started at 8 a.m. I did get a good night's sleep the night before, at least in terms of like convention, uh, typical resting amounts. Um, but yeah, had to get up really early for the 8 a.m. Arc Nova. Got there and got seated and found out that my worst fears about their published tournament format were true. Round one of Arc Nova, they had everyone play same maps, but they did make everyone play side A, which is one of the beginner maps. So 120 something of us played a beginner map for round one. If you want to make a competitive Arc Nova tournament, you don't use those maps. It's just really disappointing to have such a competition that tries to be serious and then come out with such an unserious format for the game. The side A and side zero are just so markedly wild compared to normal competitive play that you might find on BGA. Um, while sitting down and setting up for round one, also found out that round two was going to play side zero. So they were effectively going to cut the field from 120 something to 12 or 16 while playing the beginner maps. There can be some reasoning for this in terms of trying to make the games go faster and smoother for the people that entered more casually and weren't trying to learn Arc Nova super deep before playing. But in my opinion, this was not a serious Arc Nova tournament, not to take anything away from whoever ended up winning. But already, before I even started playing round one, in my head, this is a joke of a format. This is not a serious format for an Arc Nova tournament. This is silly, and it's not the competition of any competitive gamer's dreams to have this kind of same mapness in Arc Nova. Same maps are important, but the game with the maps 1 through 8 and 9 and 10, if you have the promo, is such a better game. You get so much less for free, and the decisions, I think, are more interesting by a good amount because of it. There's swinginess in the opening, like when you get a free size 3 enclosure to start, did you draw a size 3 animal in your opening hand? I did in round one. So I guess I'll segue into my round one of Arc Nova. I did have a decent start with drawing what was it? Not the lion, not the cougar, the African predator that requires an Africa partner zoo. Africa was one of the base projects we drew, so I was able to get the partner zoo in round one for Africa, play that into the existing size 3 enclosure I had, and then after the first break I was able to get my first conservation project. The other two base projects in the game were birds and Australia, and later in the game, in the mid-game, I managed to get the middle rung of birds for 4 CP, and then the break after that, I got Australia for 5. On the base projects, I did great. Unfortunately, I basically got nothing else in terms of card draw, and yeah, just wasn't getting the luck I needed, I don't think. I lost to a pretty good player who I have mutual friends with in the LA group of gamers. But yeah, my notes say, aside from a decent start and the base project, I have almost nothing. And I didn't practice maps A or 0. Maybe that was wishful thinking because technically they were in the rules document, and that's why I was saying I was afraid that they would do this. Yeah, so that was a bummer to have that kind of map. I did not win the game. Lost by 15 or 20 points in second place in a 3-player game. There was a unfortunate moment during the game where I got into a rules argument where the guy who ended up winning the game didn't know the rules perfectly. It was very much a corner case, and I don't blame them for not knowing the rules on it, but I stopped him from doing an illegal move, which is to use a multiplier for both the normal action and to take an X. He vehemently disagreed. We ended up getting the judge involved. The judge ruled on my side because that's the rule, and the opponent chose to appeal to the head judge. The head judge got involved. The judge and the head judge, I think, did some looking up online to confirm that I was right. Yeah, and part of my opponent's reasoning was that I used reasoning along the lines of BGA has it implemented correctly and you should trust BGA. My opponent said BGA was wrong on this other thing, which I know for a fact it's right on. So it was unfortunate. My opponent was pretty salty about, salty and a bit stubborn, honestly, about thinking the rules were one way without being completely ironclad sure, and ended up being wrong about it. Either way, that ended. I mean, me and that guy are amicable. I don't think there's any bad blood between us, even though the moment was a little ugly. Moral of that story, trust BGA, especially if TSAC is the developer. He does his job to make sure he's putting in the rules correctly as good as possible. But yeah, so that means I lost round 1 of Arc Nova in what ended up a 4-round tournament. The person who ended up winning was BDW SSBB on BGA. Very strong player, top 10 player. So not surprising that they won. Congrats to them. Cool to have a top online player show up to a live event. And congrats to my friends Stan and Nick for making the final. Sorry that it didn't go your guys' way. I was rooting for both of you. But, you know, a strong player is going to be strong, and I'm sure it was a great game. So because I lost round 1 of Arc Nova, that meant I had all day yesterday to not play a tournament, which was a nice change of pace from Mars, the first day where I was occupied for 9 hours. I ended up doing a lot of open gaming. I wrote down everything I did in my notes. I did Seven Wonders practice game, got lunch, played a couple Wingspan practice games, had a nice long strategy talk for Seven Wonders with last year's champion and in my WBC friend group, Ricky. Then got some good tips on Raw. So a lot of preparation for today's Seven Wonders, and in my backup games in case I land into the playoffs and have to play something I'm less familiar with. So yeah, very good day of open gaming, I would say. It is helpful, or at least it has been to me, to have these pre-established friend groups. It does look like people who don't come to this event with too many outside friends are still having a good time in open gaming, needing to be a bit more social to get there. I'm not the most social person in the first place, so I'm happy to have these pre-established groups to fall back on and play with, and it's been awesome to see all these people that I don't get to see with usually, or to play with usually, because, you know, we live all across the country. So yeah, had a overall pretty good day yesterday. It was a lot more chill. Arc Nova is the event I was least expecting to win out of the 4 main events that I signed up for. Seven Wonders today with the Leaders expansion. I believe the format's going to be 4-player round 1, except for one table is going to be 3. Then semifinals immediately after, 3 player tables, then a final of 3 players. So I've been practicing for that. Even though 3 players, not a format I've ever played competitively before. Leaders is not a format I've ever played competitively before. So it's sad for me that it's not 4-player based game, because I would do really great in that, almost assuredly. So yeah, I guess I'll report back tonight or tomorrow and upload it the next day for my report of being at WSBG today. But I am taking advantage of the 2:30 p.m. start today, and it's like noon and I'm still at the hotel room. So yep, that's the day 2 recap, and I'll see you for the next one.